5 NBA players most likely to be traded ahead of the deadline, including Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, and others. More often than not many substantial trades happen before the NBA trade deadline passes. That's usually because star players typically make trade requests during the off-season, not mid-season. However, this year, multiple stars have asked out, or at the very least, it looks like they could be on a new team. So yeah, the 2025 NBA trade deadline could potentially be one for the ages. But which stars are the most likely to be traded? Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat. This is the most obvious one since the Jimmy Butler drama in South Beach has been going on for about a month now, give or take. The staring contest between Butler and Miami Heat president Pat Riley is quite fascinating because both know the other's leverage. Riley knows what Butler wants is a new expensive contract, while Butler knows he can make the Heat's life a living hell as long as he stays there. For how everything transpired, it would be surprising if Butler is still on the Heat past the deadline. Miami risks having this ugliness go on for another season if they don't trade him in the coming days. It's best for both parties that they part ways. De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox is definitely among the most surprising candidates because no one would have thought of him before ESPN's Shams Charania reported that the Sacramento Kings are listening to offers. It's a shame too, because the Kings really looked like they had figured things out before this drama with Fox exploded. What hurts Sacramento even more is its lack of leverage. Fox reportedly prefers the San Antonio Spurs, and he can leave in free agency in 2026. No interested trade partner will give up much for a rental, and the Spurs won't give up much for someone they can sign in free agency. Like Butler, the Kings may be better off resolving this as soon as possible instead of letting it drag. Zach LaVine, Chicago Bulls. Considering how long his name keeps coming up, Zach LaVine has a timeshare in the trade rumor mill. It appears to be more of the same this season, as the Chicago Bulls are still as mediocre as ever, but at least this time, LaVine is having a return to form. His shooting efficiencies are the best they've ever been, as he's shooting 51.1% from the field and 44.6% from three. Again, the Bulls don't stand to gain much from keeping LaVine because they understandably don't want to stay in no man's land. However, the big difference this season is that any interested trade partner should not expect Chicago to hand him over, especially since his contract doesn't look nearly as bad as it used to be. Brandon Ingram, New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans season is going down in flames, which casts further doubt on Brandon Ingram's future with the team. Ingram still hasn't gotten past his injury demons, so with his expiring contract and all, it's hard to see any interested suitor giving up equal value for him. Still, if New Orleans decides they're done with Ingram, they can't risk losing him for nothing. The Pelicans won't want anyone who eats into their long-term cap flexibility. If anything, their best shot at capitalizing on Ingram might be to try to get in on a blockbuster trade involving another star like Butler or Fox. It's a shame that Ingram's time in New Orleans may end like this, but it might be best for the Pelicans to cut the cord rather than double down. Nikola Vucevic, Chicago Bulls. Nikola Vucevic has been mentioned in the trade rumor mill for pretty much as long as his teammate LaVine has, but he hasn't been discussed nearly to the same degree. That was until this year, with Vucevic having one of his best seasons in years, which has led to more buzz regarding him heading elsewhere. He's never proven himself a winner, but Vucevic does what his team asks him to do. Teams know his strengths and his weaknesses. He's not the main guy on a contender, but a contender could believe he can be one of the top guys, though it would depend on his fit. The real question is whether LaVine and Vucevic will be traded together or in separate deals. The duo hasn't worked out in Chicago, but being the surrounding pieces of another team would certainly be interesting. Bradley Beal would be on this list, but a trade including him doesn't seem plausible because of his no-trade clause and how much the Phoenix Suns owe him for the next 3 years.